Alright everybody, hello and welcome as always. I am Sean and this is In The Mix, episode 103 of our Isle of Man series. We're well into our season, our first season in the Premier Division. If you haven't gone back and watched the other episodes from the start of this week, go and check them out. They're going to give you so much additional context to where we're at the moment, introduce you to all the squad, the new players, and kind of set down a marker for what we've got to try and achieve this season. But the season's motoring along nicely. I want to keep our momentum going. We're going to jump straight in and have a look at how we've done so far. So, as you guys can see here, we are down in 13th spot. After 6 games, we've had 2 wins, 1 draw, and 3 defeats in that time. Now, some of those have come off screen. Of course, in that last episode, we played Doncaster in the Carabao Cup, just got through on penalties, and then we lost 2-1 to a very good Newcastle side, who, to be fair, probably deserved the win on the balance of play. We then had a good 1-1 draw with Wolves, Louis Barbosa getting the goal in that one before they immediately pegged us back, and it really could have gone either way. Both sides had opportunities to win the game, but it just wasn't meant to be. And then we were truly humbled by Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. We did go with our cautious mentality, which I think just in the end invited too much pressure. By the time we switched back to our attacking structure for the second half, we were already 4-0 down. You can see they've got a very good side, like Erling Haaland's still in the team and kind of tore us apart whenever he felt like. I think he had 2 or 3 assists in this game as well. This regen player, just called Dan, a 24-year-old Brazilian, was absolutely fantastic. It felt like every time he had the ball, he created an opportunity or created something. So you can see here, just in the combined value of his stats, he's on another level to anything that we've got at the moment. So we might have to think about how we're going to treat those games away from home. We've got another big one in today's episode. We then rotated again quite a bit. The backup players all played in the Carabao Cup third round. Again, that competition was never a priority. Brighton beat us 4-1. They were good value for that, and it was just our backup side, so I'm not too upset with falling out of that competition. But what we do need to do today is pick up 3 points against Southampton. They are down in 20th in the division, which means they are one of the bottom sides expecting to be relegated. We're only on 7 points, they're on 2. Anything can turn around, but if we can get 3 points, it really kind of pushes us back up towards the top half of the table and gives us some breathing room between those teams down in the relegation spots. And again, we're not setting any different expectations. We're just trying not to get relegated this season. That's all we want to do. And then we've got a huge trip, probably one of the biggest ones in the competition. We play the current reigning defending champions, Manchester United, at Old Trafford. It's going to be... we play them at home at DW Stadium. It's going to be a huge fixture, and obviously after getting walloped by Chelsea, a massive, massive test of how we're doing. The squad though, so far so good, nothing to really complain about. There's a couple of different positions like Ben Shop, Escobar, Londono on the left wing, even Torp in midfield, where over the last 5 games they haven't actually played that well in terms of average match rating, but I think some of that is them just getting settled at a Premier Division level, so I'm not panicking too much just yet. But if we get a month down the track, we might rotate and try and bring some of the older heads back in just to get us balanced, get us settled, and put ourselves in a better position to kind of push on in the second half of the year. More than enough talking from me though, we want to get stuck into the football. Let's jump forward and have a look at the 2 lineups against Southampton. Right, so as you guys can see here, we're going with Coops in goal, Sigurdsson and Escobar as the central defensive partnership, Good Life at left fullback, Ben Shop at right fullback, Torp and Barbosa in midfield, Aguirre at the 10, Londono and Fessler on the wings, and Altamiranda leading line up top. It is pretty much the starting 11 that we said we were going to do at the start of the season. We do have a couple of new faces that are going to arrive in January to hopefully galvanise the squad a little bit. Whether they come in and start or play off the bench or go out on loan is yet to be decided. It'll be determined quite a bit about how everyone performs. We're looking for a new left back. I think potentially left wing is proving a little bit of a difficult area for us. So we might look at the loan market for that just to try and keep us in the division. But there are a few different things going on that we're going to try to continue to work so that we can get ourselves early season points, so that we can keep ourselves away from from the relegation picture and make sure that it's a cruisy first season in the league before we try and push on next season. Looking at Southampton's lineup, they're playing a 4-2-4, very similar to the initial formation that we played in the early days of the Isle of Man series. They've got a couple of players still hanging on. Kepa is being one. He's been with them now for a good few seasons. Oh no, actually, he spent pretty much his entire career at Chelsea, and I think he was on loan at Southampton or something like that, but he's there now permanently for this season. 36 years of age, of course, still very good goalkeeping attributes. Physically needs a bit of work, but otherwise very, very good. The other holdout is Avia, 29-year-old Argentine defender, 21 caps to his name. He comes through at Rosario Central, where we also picked up Altamiranda, a couple other players as well. He went to Boca initially, and then Man United, Real Sociedad, Villarreal and now Southampton for the last 2 seasons, where he has done quite well in defence. Looking at the average ratings for this season, De Vries looks like he's got the highest one so far for the season, and he looks very good. Picked up from AZ Alkmaar. 24 years of age, he's been at Southampton for a few seasons, scoring a few goals in that time. Looks to have very good corners, finishing, first touch, passing, so technically quite good, which you'd expect from a young Dutch player. 17 determination, and physically 18 acceleration, agility, and 16 pace. Looks very, very good, and he is described as being an elite striker, so I think he might be a bit of a handful for us today. Assertively, we're going to say, I know how hard you're working all working to end this poor run of form. Today's the day. It took me a second to actually spit that out, but everyone has responded positively. We're also going to tell the defence that we've got faith in them, and I might also calmly tell Alton Miranda up top that we have faith in him. If we can get them all motivated and firing and ready to go, it's going to put us in a good position. And again, these sort of like 6-point games are going to be very important. If Southampton win, they'll go up to 5 points, probably get out of the relegation spots, and it might drag us back down towards that battle if we don't get a good result. Talk with the ball here. It's the first highlight. It's a poor ball forward and a ball behind, but headed back by Escobar, just as I burped into the microphone directly. Ball back into Videla. Now Janssen. Fessler does very well to press and win it back. Maybe could have released the pass there to Alton Miranda. Instead, he goes to strike himself. Kepa with a good save out for the corner. Ball wide right. Aguirre to take. Goes short with Londono, who doesn't beat the first man, and then Nasrola blasts that one into Rogi. Highlight right-hand side. Benchop starts with the throw-in. Exchanges passes with Aguirre. Wide right area. Cuts it back to Barbosa at the edge of the area. Hangs one back stick. It's headed away by Hopkinson. Good life will recover and play it out to Londono. Steps inside. Now Barbosa again, who's been quite good over the opening month of the season. Definitely accustomed to the Premier League. And Goodlife with a wonderful strike. We mentioned it at the start. We were probably looking for a new left back. But if Goodlife hits the ground running and gets off to a good early season form here, we might keep him in the side as much as we can. Barbosa, I think, so far has been absolutely tremendous. Probably our best performing player in the division so far. And it's a lovely touch around the man there. And then a wonderful finish as well. Keeper couldn't get to it at near post. And his first goal of the season. And the assist actually goes to Lars Torp. I thought it was Barbosa, but that's fine. Shit happens. Long ball forward. Torp actually wins it back in midfield. Aguirre sends it out towards the left-hand side where Goodlife was, but it's won back by Southampton. They've put De Vries in over the top. He's their best player. And thankfully the strike, it had a lot of power on it, but just past the far post. All right, we're getting through 30 minutes now, and we are, I don't want to go to analysis, but we are up by a goal. I just want to hold that lead, so I'm going to use demand more. Escobar with a good header, back into Barbosa, who sends it out towards the left. Londono does very well to win it back. Alton Miranda now, back to Barbosa again. Strike from distance, clips the base of the post, and then hits Kepa before Southampton clear it away. We did break our transfer record to bring in Lua Barbosa, and I think he has been absolutely fantastic for us, the Adam Driver lookalike. Oh, turn there from Charles on the right-hand side for Southampton, and they've gotten goal side. Oh, thankfully. The drive, again, they've gone for power instead of accuracy, and it just smashes past the far post. It's twice now they've gotten in behind, and they haven't made us pay. Aguirre with a wide free kick. Barbosa clips it back in. He's going to get the goal here. Third of the season for him. He's been excellent in this first half. That yellow card is something that we're going to have to keep an eye on for, but I did mention we broke our transfer record for him, and he has been absolutely fantastic. Wonderful header back across, and if we stay in the division, like that £13 million, I think it was that we paid, like that will have paid for itself just in TV rights and whatever else. So 2-0 up at half-time, things are going very well. 8 shots, 4 on target, 46% possession for Southampton at home. 13 shots, 6 on target, 54% possession for Isle of Man, and we're 2-0 up. Passionately, I'm going to say, very pleased with the performance, lads. Keep it going. Just want to try and keep morale up as much as humanly possible. Aguirre, wide free kick, puts it back post again, and Escobar with the flick-on header. We're 3-0 up here. First highlight of the second half, finds the back of the net again. A lovely ball in from Aguirre. And Escobar, who I think chipped in with like 6 or 7 goals from set pieces last season, gets his first for the year as well. It's a wonderful effort, just peels off the shoulder of the defender, holds a few of them off, and powers it home at the far post. Keep good, do nothing about it. Interestingly, looking around the grounds, West Brom drawing 2-2 with Bournemouth. Bournemouth might be a side that we can potentially get 3 points against, given that we performed very, very well against West Brom. Barbosa now sends it out wide right to Fessler, who will want to cut back. He goes back stick to Londono, who clips the crossbar, and then Southampton get it away. Arsenal also beating Chelsea, who were down to 10 men. Chelsea came flying out of the blocks in the opening 3 or 4 games of the season. I think they're on like plus 16 goal difference after 3 games or something crazy like that. Ball out here from Rice. Long one forward, and Kuba should recover. We're through the hour mark now, so we might let this highlight play out before we look at subs. But yeah, I think Chelsea have lost like 2 or 3 of their last few games. They belted the shit out of us, but otherwise they've dropped off a little bit. Escobar now. Wide right area needs to get rid of it. Fessler does quite well in a tight space. Escobar into Torp. Now Fessler. We've got numbers on this right-hand side. We need to work it correctly. Aguirre switches out to the left. Londono can cut back on his favourite right foot and gets the strike away. First goal of the season for him. We didn't mention it in the build-up that he hasn't had the best start to his career, but hopefully that goal might give him a little bit of encouragement and help him settle in the division a little bit. Thought maybe Aguirre would go over to that right-hand side. The fullback had bombed on, but Londono does very well. Excellent touch. Turns around the defender inside, gets it on his favourite right peg and smashes it back across the goalkeeper. Perfect time for us to look at subs. We're just going to go with, I think, the players that are on yellow cards. So Barbosa will come off for Senna, even though Barbosa's had an excellent game. Sigurdsson's got a yellow card as well. We're not going to risk it. I will trust in Alex Goodlife because if we were to change our left back, I think we have to put players outside of their natural positions. We're just going to tell everyone we've got faith in them. And there is a highlight here. Goodlife's gone through someone, but thankfully not another yellow card. I'm going to use Get Creative as well. Old Faithful, after an hour, consistently works. We might as well try and boost our goal difference a little bit, see if we can't get some of the goals back to what we conceded against Chelsea. Good little work triangle there in the middle, and Altamiranda eventually with the drive had a lot of pace on it, but not the accuracy. Getting into the last 10 minutes now, we might look at that additional sub. Let's just go by condition. Escobar struggling a little bit. I probably don't want to change the defensive line too much more. Maybe we'll give Rosero, who hasn't had that much game time. Oh no, Londono's picked up an injury. Okay, so what are we going to do here? Londono's going to come off then for Jimmy Winter, who again, similarly, struggled to really make an impact on that left-hand side. And we're going to use our demand washout just for the last 10 minutes. Let's try and keep this clean sheet. Headed back into midfield. Angelini now. Now Dagro. First real highlight we've seen in the second half from Southampton. Videla, good tackle from Fessler, but it's fallen again to Southampton's advantage. Goodlife's header isn't great. Callum Hudson-Odoi's come off the bench for them, and De Vries has pulled one back, so we haven't held on to the clean sheet here in the last 10 minutes. 6th goal of the season for De Vries, even though they are sitting towards the bottom of the league. That's a pretty impressive retention rate, and while he is 24 and would be way too expensive for us, we should start keeping an eye on some of these teams that are down towards the bottom of the division. If they've got promising youngsters, wonder kids of their own, we should probably look at trying to pick them up during the off-season if we do have the additional cash available. 4 minutes to be added on at the end of this one. We have been pretty comprehensive victors. There is one late highlight. Again, Southampton in possession. If they pull one back here, I'll be quite annoyed that the subs have derailed it as much as they have. Was that Declan Rice playing that ball? When Hudson-Odoi gets it across, Benchop clears. Only as far as Angelini, and a good close down there from Escobar gets it out for the throw-in. Should be the last highlight. About 20 seconds remain of additional time to be added on. Southampton do have the ball. Videla squares it up, but then Escobar again just hooks it into touch. We're pretty much 10 men behind the ball. Oh, well, I say 10 men, and Altamiranda's the only one still further forward. Just trying to hold on here for the last minute or so, and Videla's cross again closed down by the fullback. Surely this is it, ref. We're 20 seconds in and past the end of additional time. Back to Angelini, the fullback now. Aguirre with a good tackle, and it goes out for throwing again. And thankfully, the referee mercifully stops the game before we concede again. 14 shots, 7 on target, 45% possession. 20 shots, 10 on target, 55% for us. And a 4-1 victory. A very good performance. I'm going to say that was really special, lads. Nobody gave you a chance, and you played magnificently. Does see Southampton remain bottom of the table. We move up to 11th spot on 10 points and back to +1 goal difference, which I think will be very important in the second half of the season. Even though West Brom are out of the relegation spots, they do have -17 goal difference, which I think will come into it quite a bit in the second half. We now travel to Manchester United. They are top of the division. 7 games played, 6 wins, 1 defeat in that. 6 wins, 1 draw in that time. +13 goal difference and 19 points. Very, very impressive stuff for them. I think we're going to go after it a little bit, given that we are playing at home. I think we will probably play our attacking structure. Londono's got sprained ankle ligament, so he'll miss out, and Jimmy Winter will come in. One of our former coaches, Jamie Varda, was manager at Fulham, and they have sacked him, but that's fine. We might try and bring him back in as a coach if we can. And Aguirre, I didn't notice 3 assists in that game, an excellent performance and a 9.0 match rating. We'll give him a bit of praise. Switch out Londono for Winter. I'm going to give everyone a rest day because we've played quite a bit of football over the opening few months of the season. Or everyone that started at least a rest day. And who will we put on the bench? We'll drop Petkovic on there. And now magic editing. We'll jump forward to the game against Manchester United. Alright, just like that, we are a week ahead. Only that one change for us. Jimmy Winter coming in at left wing. We haven't changed any of the fullbacks. But there are a couple of changes to the bench. Greisinger is away with the under-23 US side for like a month. I don't know what competition that must be. So we brought Akeem Miller, the 16-year-old that we signed from Arsenal, onto the bench. He's progressing nicely, actually. He's already got half-star current ability increase this season alone, just training with the other group. We have given him his debut as well in cup competition. So might be one that we keep an eye on for the future. And he's nearly, I think, like a Barbados under-21 international or something crazy like that. Looking at the Manchester United side, they've only got 2 holdout players that are still from the original database. Max Aarons, of course, who they picked up from Norwich. In 2023, he's been at Man United now for, I think, about 9 seasons in game. Looks to have developed into a fantastic fullback option. Wonderful physical attributes, good technical attributes as well, good mental stats also. If you're looking for a young English right back in your own saves, he might be a good shout if you can't afford the likes of Alexander-Arnold and whoever else. Vinicius Jr., also the other one, 17 dribbling still, 16 penalty taking, 17 technique. Physically still very, very good at 31 years of age. 20 agility for a 31-year-old is crazy. He was at Real Madrid up until 2025 before joining Man United, where he's been for the last 7 seasons. And he'll play on the left wing. They've got some very, very talented players as well. Guardiola is one of the ones that I think was not just promoted as being potentially the best young player in the competition, but also one of the decent shouts for player of the season in the competition itself. They picked him up from Valencia 2 seasons ago, and he looks excellent. 17 dribbling, first touch, 17 passing, 18 technique, 16 teamwork and work rate, 19 vision, 17 off the ball, 17 leadership, 17 composure, 17 anticipation, physically 18 agility, 18 balance, 17 pace, 17 stamina, 16 strength. He looks to be an absolute beast of a player. And you can kind of see why they paid the amount they did for him, £126 million. Diekmeyer in midfield is their highest average rated player for the season, a young 27-year-old German midfielder that came through VfL Wolfsburg right in the very first season of the competition, it looks like. He would have been one of the early regen players. He's been at Man United now for 6 seasons as well. Looks to be a very, very good midfield player there, and I think he'll be pulling the strings from the base midfield. We're going to go attacking. We're at home. Why not? I mean, when we went cautious, we got torn apart by Chelsea. We haven't really got anything to lose, so might as well go after it a bit here. And passionately, I'm going to say, I know we're underdogs, but go on and give these fans a performance to cheer for. I'm going to assertively tell everyone at the same time that I have faith in them. And even if we go out there and lose, like, it's Manchester United. They're reigning champions. They're undefeated so far in the league season. It's not the worst result in the world, but I think it's a very good marker, not just for where we're at, but also where we want to be in the future. Deep free kick for Nacho, who was the young player of the month, just beating out Lua Barbosa in the most recent award series. Barbosa, speaking off, has won the ball back, but then it's immediately given back by Fessler. Guardia knocks it down to Nacho on the right wing. Escobar heads it away. Fessler will have the opportunity to try and recover possession again. The press is very, very quick from United here. They're right on top of us as soon as we have the ball. We have worked a good spot here for Aguirre. Nice little half space. Ball into Altamiranda to get the strike away. It had a lot of venom on it, but Doyle, who is also the English national keeper, a wonderful save. Early doors though. 3 shots, 3 on target. We're getting a little bit of traction here. About 10 minutes remain in the first half. I'm just going to use demand more, try and give everyone some focus through to half time. If we can get through it 0-0, we'll be doing very, very well in this one. And so far, their keeper is actually the highest average rated player on the ground. So at halftime, 5 shots, 3 on target, 50% of the ball. They've had 4 shots, but none on target and 50% possession. It's a good performance from us so far. Assertively, I'm going to say I'm happy with the performance so far. Keep it up. And again, like if this all goes pear-shaped in the second half, I'm not going to be too worried about it. I think the main thing we're going to focus on as we get towards the hour mark of the yellow cards. We picked up Ben Shop and Torp, both with yellow cards in the match already. I tell you what, we're through that hour mark very quickly. I'm going to hit pause. Let's make those 2 subs. Let's just not risk anything. I think going down to 10 men will be worse for us than potentially a player coming on and not playing as well as they can. Passionately, I have faith in you both. And let's also use our Get Creative shout. With an hour gone, Old Faithful generally gets a positive reaction. Altamiranda's picked up a knock. It looks like a tight thigh. We don't really want to risk him too much. So if we get to if there's no further highlights before we hit 80 minutes, we probably will take him off. Yeah, let's hit pause now. I'll tell you what, the second half is not the most interesting match I think anyone's ever watched. We're going to bring on Abu Bakar Kamara and also tell him that we have faith in him to make a difference. And we've got 10 minutes remaining. We're just going to use our demand more shout. Ball pinballs around here. We've got a corner kick. First highlight of the second half. No, we don't see anything further from that. Thanks, game, for just giving me that false sense of hope. 88 minutes played now. There's going to be 5 minutes of additional time. Should we use a Get Creative shout in the last minute? I don't think we're going to see any further highlights. It's kind of a boring 0-0 draw, but a massive result against the current reigning defending league champions. 13 shots in the end, 7 on target, 44% possession. Manchester United didn't have a single shot on target. 6 strikes from distance, 56% of possession as well. A very good performance. Passionately, lads. Everybody thought we'd get beaten today. You proved them wrong. Well done on a great result. Not the most interesting thing from like a content creation perspective because there just weren't that many highlights, but what a massive result in the context of our season. Does see us move up into 10th spot on 11 points and a +1 goal difference, but you can see it's very, very tight. A couple of bad results, we could drop off quite a bit. The plus side, I guess, is that we do have a good few points now between the bottom four, like West Brom, Leicester, Southampton and Wolves, who are struggling to get points early in the season. And Leicester and Southampton actually drew against each other in the last match day, so that's handy for everyone in and around them as well. Youthful FC Isle of Man draw with Man United. Diekmeyer got the Man of Match award with a 7.8 match rating. And quite a few yellow cards in there as well. We were definitely pushing the boundaries. Alton Miranda's been injured. He's going to be out for 1 to 3 days. That's good. At least we're not losing him for a long period. And we actually have coming up an international break, so it's very good timing in terms of a rest period. And we play Bournemouth, who are in 6th. Now, they did draw earlier in the season with West Brom, but it looks like they've had a decent start to the season. 4 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses. We will play that game off screen. And I think we'll come back and play potentially in the next episode. Oh, actually, there's some very tasty fixtures coming up. Maybe we'll do Bournemouth off screen, Everton off screen, and what's bigger, Man City or Tottenham and Liverpool? Maybe we'll skip the Man City game as well, and we'll come back and do Tottenham and Liverpool next month, mainly because it's Liverpool travelling to the DW Stadium to play us. And potentially we could do Man City in like the second half of the season. There'll be games further on in the year where we've got nice little runs of fixtures that we can try and include them in. Yeah, I think that'll work. Tottenham, who are in 9th spot, and Liverpool, who are currently in 7th. Be interesting to see what their squad looks like 13 years down the track. But it should make for an interesting episode as well. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. That is the portion that I appreciate the most. If you wanted to go that extra mile, support the channel that little bit more, you can drop a like on this video. It gets us higher in YouTube search results when people look for Football Manager content. Pleases that YouTube algorithm, as they say. Or you can subscribe to the channel if you want to be kept up to date on all our future videos. The links are just over on that side to our Twitch and our Twitter, where you can check out either our regular Sunday night Twitch saves, or on Twitter, all of our interactions with the community. It's always a really great place to be. So go and check that out if you're interested. But like I said at the start, more than anything, I just appreciate you watching. I've been Sean, and I'll see you guys again in the mixer.